and give you access to a variety of different opportunities. So I will turn it over to Amelie, who will tell us all about how to best utilize that. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, welcome everyone. And thank you for joining. So I'm going to show you how you can set up an account for yourself on Research Professional, and then how you can mainly interact with the funding database, set up searches for yourself, and sign up to different email alerts. But we're also going to look at some of the other features you have available, such as the news content and conference page and so on. So yeah, just to let everyone know that the recording is the session is being recorded. I'm just going to turn off my camera and then share my screen. So I hope you can all see this login page now. So first for accessing, when you go to researchprofessional.com, if you are on your university campus or in some other way connected to a university network, then when you go to this page, you will already be on the main landing page. So you can then browse through the content of the page as what we call a guest user. So you'll then be accessing through your institution's IP ranges. So you can still browse through and you can run a search, but it also has some limitations. So you won't be able to save a search or sign up to any email alerts when you access as a guest user. But if you create your own user account and access using that instead, you will then be able to save your searches, so you don't need to run the same search every time. And you can also sign up to email alerts to automatically be updated on any new calls that have been added. And the way to create an account, if you are connected via your university network, then when you go to researchprofessional.com, you would also see an option to register an account. If you're accessing remotely, then you'll be able to register an account via single sign-on. So if you just type in the name of your institution and click login, it will then send you to this usual login page that you're familiar with, and you then just sign in with your usual university credentials, and it will then give you the option to create a new account. And then going forward, you can simply just log in using this method instead. If I just log in with this demo account, then once you're logged in, you'll be able to see your name up here where it says demo account for me. And you can also link to your single sign-on through here. If you already have an account with the username and password, then you can click through here and follow the steps to link, so you can use SSO going forward to log in. So on the main landing page, you have a direct link to the funding database where you can start your search in this field here. Or you can also click straight through to the advanced search and build your search from there with all the different search criteria. In the middle, you have some selected news content for newly published articles. And then down here, you have a link to your institutional page, which you can also find up here where it says our institution. So we'll be looking at the funding database first, and then I'm also briefly going to show you some of the other tabs that you have available up here. So to start your search, you can start typing in a word. So if we, for example, put arts in, then you can see first we have a free text option. So this works as a keyword-based option. So if we were to run this free text search, we would then generate results for any opportunities that have been tagged with where the word arts is included anywhere in the call description. It also suggests some different funders for us where that word is included. And then finally, it suggests some different disciplines. And the disciplines refers to our taxonomy tree and is essentially how the different calls are organized within the database. So our funding team that are responsible for adding new opportunities to the database and updating existing ones, they will tag each opportunity with at least one discipline and sometimes more, depending on what's relevant, to indicate what area of research is being supported through that particular call. So we always say that this is a good place to start your search. Start by selecting the discipline that's relevant to your area of research, and then from there you can start adding on more search criteria to narrow it down via the advanced search. Each, or the funding database has been filtered for each institution. So that means when you're accessing under your institution's license, you will only be generating results for opportunities that are open to applicants based at institutions in the UK. If we click this Arts and Humanities and then run our search, so now we have just under 300 results, and you can see they are sorted by default according to closing dates, so the earliest deadline coming up first. But you can also change any of those, any of the sorting to these different options. So you have the deadline on your left, and then in the middle you have the name of the opportunity, and under it you have the name of the funder. And over on the right you can see the maximum award amount that's available. If we open up one of the call pages, then again you have name of the fund, name of the funder and the funding opportunity. If you click through here to the funder, you can then get just brief information about the funder, the type of funder, and the home country. And you can go through to their website, and you can also see all opportunities that are currently listed for that funder in the database. You can see again the closing date. Then you have a link to the funder's website where this call information can be found to go and have a look at the full call. This information here is summarized from that full call information and summarized by our funding team to just let you know what this call is for, very briefly, what's being supported, and so on. So just give the most essential summary of this call. If you scroll down, you have again the closing date, and underneath the closing date note, you can see any further information. So for example, what time it closes, the recurrence. So in this case, this is not a call that we know for sure if that will be coming back again next year, but we are monitoring each call that we have in the database. So if any future rounds come up, we would then be able to update it. Then you have the date for when it was added to the database. You can see what type of award it is. In this case, they've specified both a maximum and a minimum award amount. And in the amount note, you can see further details and exactly what's being supported. In the eligibility profile, you can see who can apply for this call. And as I mentioned, because of the pre-filtering, you would only see calls that are specifically open to applicants in the UK. But you would also see calls where it says unrestricted if a funder has specifically said that the call is open to applicants based in any country. Then you have the nationality of researcher. This is set to unspecified. And again, because of the pre-filtering, you would also see this is also reflected here in the nationality of researcher, but for the majority of calls, they would be tagged as unspecified. It's very rare that funders specify which citizenship the individual researcher must hold. It is mainly based on the country of the applicant institution. So the majority would be unspecified. If you do need a specific nationality, it would say that here, or if it specifically says unrestricted. Then you have career stage down here. Further eligibility notes, any further details around who exactly can apply for this call in more specific details. And then down here at the bottom, you see the disciplines that this call has been indexed with. So we looked up arts and humanities, so that's why this call showed up in our search. But equally, if we had looked up any of these other three, cultural heritage, cultural history, or social sciences, if we had looked up any of those disciplines, this particular call would have shown up in our search as well. And also up here under the contact, you will have contact details, either a more generic contact detail that's been added to the call information, or if they have specified a specific person, maybe a program manager who you should contact for any questions or further details, you would be able to find their contact details here. If we click back a step and then move on to our advanced search, so we can start narrow down our research results, then we can keep the discipline we already selected and then go through to the advanced search. So now we can add on more search criteria from the different options up here, as well as the options over here from the drop down. So first, the alt text. This works the same as the free text that we saw in the beginning when we started our search. It's a keyword-based search where you can look up any opportunities that contains a specific word. We can add more disciplines to the search as well. If we do it from up here by clicking here, you can then see that the arts and humanities discipline we already selected is now listed down here, and any other discipline we then select and add will be listed up here as a separate search criteria. So by adding disciplines separately this way, you would then generate results for opportunities that have been tagged with both or all of the disciplines that you add. So by default, we're looking for courses that match all the different criterions that we are adding to our search. But if you would like to add several disciplines that you're interested in and you just want to look for courses that have been tagged with either one of those, then instead of adding it as a separate discipline up here, we then want to add it next to this one by clicking edit over here instead. So now you can see we have arts and humanities, and then we can add more next to it here. You can both search for disciplines and select from this option here, or you can browse through the taxonomy and see how the different opportunities are, the different disciplines are organized in this taxonomy and select from there. So you have the four main bigger area of research, and you can see we already selected this, so that's been ticked off. But if we open up the folder, any more specific area that's listed underneath has not been ticked off. We would have to manually go through and tick off the ones that we are interested in. And the reason for that is when you look down here, it's by default set to match these disciplines exactly. So that means only the exact ones we're ticking off are getting added to our search. However, if you did want to add everything listed underneath, so we already ticked arts and humanities, and if we wanted to add every single more narrow discipline term organized underneath, then you can click advanced and click narrow matches instead of going through and tick off every single one of them. So for now, let's just do that to broaden our search a bit before we start narrowing it down again. Then you can also select award type. So depending on what you're looking to do, so we could look up fellowships and postdoctoral awards. You can also filter by funder. So you can either search by for the name of a specific funder, or again, you can browse and you can look up alphabetically and see all the different funders that we currently are tracking in the system. Then you can specify your closing date. So as you can see, some of these have closing dates that are coming up very soon in the next couple of days to help manage your own timeline and make sure you give yourself enough time. You can choose to specify a certain amount of days and say you only want to see calls that close in more or less than a certain amount of days. Or you can select from this calendar view closing after or before a specific date. So we could, for example, set it into a month from now and then add that. Then you can also specify your award amount. Let's just see how big some of these are so we don't accidentally filter out all of them. So you can specify how much money you're looking for, more or less than, and the currency is by default set to British pounds, but it can also be changed from here. So if we say more than 20,000, for example, and then we also include any opportunities that doesn't have a maximum award amount specified. So for these, for example, where it's not specified, then we can click OK and then run the search again. Then from the more options, you can also select date added if you only wanted to see newly added calls, for example. So you can again select amount of days or a specific date. So if I wanted to see only calls added this year, for example, let's see if that narrows it down too much. We still have quite a few. Then you can also look up by country of funder. So for example, we only wanted to see calls from funders in the UK. We can add that to the search as well. And all of these search criteria that you add will work as including search criteria, but you can also add them as an excluding one. So for example, in the case of the country of funder, right now we're only seeing opportunities from funders in the UK. But if we wanted to filter those out and only see opportunities from funder from any country but the UK, you can toggle this and set it to is not any of instead, and then run your search again. So now we filtered out those 16 UK calls and we only have calls from funders from abroad. You can also look up by type of funder if that's important to you. You can tick from here and select the type of funder you're interested in. And again, you can also filter out if there's a specific type of funder you're not interested in and toggle this and then tick the one you don't want to have added. Then you can also set country of applicant institution. So because of the pre-filtering, you're only seeing calls open to applicants based in the UK. But if you wanted to see what's available to people based in another specific country, maybe you have a colleague who's based in another country, or maybe you're looking to relocate for some time, then you can get around that pre-filtering and add the country you want to look up available opportunities for. And if you're more generally interested in seeing what's open to applications beyond your own country, you can tick this box down here. Then it's not just what's open to a specific country, but just other countries than your own. Then you have nationality of researcher that you can add if you want. As I mentioned, it's very rarely specified by funders, but you can add that here if you want. Applicant type, if any of these are applicable to you and you want to look up opportunities that are, for example, specifically open to women only, you could also add that to your search. Career stage is obviously important to add to your search to make sure that it's actually open to you and where you are currently at in your career. Once you're happy with your selection of criteria and you feel that it's capturing the type of funding you would be looking for, you can then save it as a saved search. Click here. Give your search a name. Before creating it, you also have the option to sign up to a weekly email alert by ticking this box down here. Then you would automatically receive an email containing any new opportunities, if any have been added in the past week. This email goes out every Sunday, so if anything new has been added that matches your search criteria from last Sunday to the next, you would then receive an email containing those specific calls that have been added. So this is a way for you to more easily stay on top with any new opportunities that might be of interest, instead of you having to actively log in and open up your results list and going through and see if anything new is there. You can sign up to an alert and then automatically be notified when anything new comes up. But now I'm just going to leave this blank and then just click create. So now over here you can see save searches. Any save searches you create when you are on the funding tab, those save searches would be listed over here. As well as viewing your results in this list down here, you can also view them in a calendar format. So if we click here, you can then see now all the opportunities listed here in this calendar. If you click one of them, you will see just very briefly who the funder is, name of opportunity, the closing date, deadline information, a brief snippet of the abstract, and then you can go through to the full call information. You can merge this calendar with your own private or professional calendar to make sure that you don't miss any deadlines that you might be interested in. You can either download it or you can subscribe. If you download the calendar, all the deadlines and all the information will stay as it was at the time of downloading. So any changes will not appear in your own calendar when you choose to merge it this way, but you can also choose to subscribe, and it would then work as a dynamic calendar. So then if any changes do happen, if a deadline is moved forward or pushed back or cancelled, you'll then be able to see those. You'll be able to see those changes in your own calendar as well to stay on top of everything. You can also, if your institutional administrators have added internal deadlines to any of the calls, you can also tick this box here to have those displayed as well. From the actions drop-down next to the calendar, you can also share a saved search by email to a colleague that also has an RP account. Just type in their email address and you can send an optional message with it. If we scroll down to the results list, and once you've gone through your list of results, you might see that some of them are of interest to you and you want to save those. You can then tick them off, and then now you can click bookmark up here and save those opportunities specifically into a bookmark folder. So if we click bookmark here, you can then again give it a name and then click create. And now over here on your right, you can see under save searches, you now also have saved bookmarks. And if you open it up, you have just those 5 calls that we just selected. You can also choose to just add these calls specifically to your calendar and get those in a calendar view to merge, or you can share it via email, again, just this folder of opportunities rather than your entire save search. For the email alerts for your saved search, if you don't sign up to it at the time of creation, then you can always do that later on. So next to your name, you will have email alerts. And if we open this up, then under the funding tab, any saved searches that you set up for yourself will be listed down here. And you can at any point sign up to the weekly email alert by ticking this box and untick if you no longer want to receive it. Under the news tab, you can sign up to daily news updates from specific article categories that you can search for, scroll through here. But you can also do that under the news tab over here that we're going to look at after. You can also sign up to any publications that your institution is subscribing to. So, for example, if you are interested in getting daily news content that are related to the higher education sector in the UK, we recommend that you sign up to the 8 a.m. playbook, and then you'll receive a daily news update with new articles and information for that area specifically. You can also sign up down here. The magazines are something that your institutional administrators can create to share funding opportunities and selected news contents with you. So if there is one that's specifically for your area of interest, you can also sign up to that to get on an emailing list and receive the magazines from your administrators. For higher education content, you also have this tab up here. So as well as signing up to the publication, you can also go and find the higher education content from this tab up here. Here you can find all of these different, sorry, news articles. You can also sign up to email updates from this area, so not to the specific publication that they do, but just to receive email updates for this specific area of interest as a daily news email alert. The other news content is found under this tab here, and all of these articles are written by our in-house journalists, and they report on research and policy development and different events that directly or indirectly affect research. And the content is separated geographically, as you can see up here. So again, there's a specific UK tab that you can open to see articles related to the UK. And then underneath, it's just taking a little while, but underneath each geographical area, you will then have a list of subcategories organized underneath that area that you can also sign up to email alerts from. So now you can see that under the UK tab, you can then sign up to email updates just from that area, or you can also open up one of these areas listed underneath for any more specific, for a more specific news article category, and sign up to email updates from just that area instead. And if you open up one of the articles, you can then download it, you can share it via email, or you can bookmark it. That works the same way as bookmarking funding opportunities. You can create a folder, give it a name, and then you can save specific articles that you're interested in into that folder. You also have an advanced article search option. So that works the same way as the advanced funding search. You can search for all text, so keyword-based search, and search up any opportunities, any news articles that contain specific words. You can look up by the different publications that we do, and you can look up by year and specific issue. You can look up according to section. So these are the same geographical sections you saw on the news tab, but there are slightly more to choose from here, as we also have some older sections listed here that are not quite as relevant anymore. So for example, under the UK, you have some categories that you can see are obviously of a slightly older date, but the articles are still in the system, so they're still organized here under their specific category. So you can open up and see some more specific article category areas from here, and some of them are quite specific, and you can add that to your search as well. Then you can also specify a publication date if you want to see only newly published articles or articles published during a specific time period. And then again, same as for your funding search, when you're happy with your selection, then you can save it and give it a name. You can both save and sign up to an alert at the same time as well. And you can also share your article search by email. Then under the funding tab, in addition to a link to the funding database, you also have access to the funding insight content through these 4 hub areas up here. So you can select the one that's relevant to you, and the content that you will find in the funding insight section, in contrast to the policy news coverage under the news tab, this content is designed to give you additional insight and intelligence to help you make good decisions about which calls to apply for, and information that can hopefully help strengthen your application and increase your chance of success. So once we've selected our area, then up here at the top, you can see some top funders for that specific area. And underneath, you can see some second tier funders. In the latest article section, you will mainly see 3 different article categories. One is the opportunities profile, and this is where our journalists have interviewed program managers to find out what they're looking for from call applications, and offer some guidance on what to include and different pitfalls to avoid. You also have My Winning Proposal, and here you can find examples of successfully funded grants where winners are generously sharing their steps to success. And lastly, you will sometimes in this section find articles titled Interviews with Top PIs. And again, this is where our journalists have interviewed people who have successfully established their careers and who may have some tips that they are willing to pass along to more junior career researchers. Next to the 4 hub areas, you also have access to the know-how. And here you can find additional information that can help you with your application. For example, if you're just starting out, we recommend that you have a look at the early careers section. So all the content you can find here, all the articles and interviews are designed to help you make the transition from postdoc to PI. So you can go through here and hopefully find inspiration and more information on how to go about that. Next to the funding section, you also have access to awards. So this is our awards database, where you can find information on historically granted awards, and you can search by various fields. So a specific project title, a specific PI's name, award year, funder, So this is the list of funders that we are tracking for this database, and it is not quite as extensive as the list of funders that we have in the funding database. Not every single funder is yet being tracked. The award database is not fairly new, but it's not something we've had for as long as the funding database. So it is still a work in progress, and we have a team who are still continuously developing it and expanding it, and adding more funders to track into this system. But as of now, we do have all the bigger UK funders, we have all the research councils, and we also have some big international funders, big European funders, all the Horizon calls, and funders, big funders from countries where we have a lot of clients. So for here, we could look up one of these. And then we can click search. So now you can see we have nearly 9,000 results from this funder. The sorting is automatically by institution, but we could also set it to year or award amount if we wanted to see the highest amount listed first. If we open up one of these, then you have the full the total award amount awarded. You can see the PI's name and the recipient organization. You can also see start and end date of the project. If we set by institution, it will have your own institution listed first, and then after that, alphabetically. So we can also have a look here and see, and if the opportunity that led to this award is currently in the system, you will have a link here, and you would then be able to click through to that specific award. In this case, this is a no deadline, so that's an opportunity that can be applied for at any time. But yeah, so if there is a specific award that you're also interested in, then you'll be able to see if that opportunity is currently live and published in the database. So you can obviously also look up just for your own institution. Why is it not? There's something, I think there's something a bit wrong with this search function. Don't know why it's not showing us. Let's try again. Not sure. I had the same issue the other day and I thought it was just a glitch, but it looks like maybe there is something more that needs to be fixed. We'll have to look into this, but yeah, usually you can look up by your own institution, and obviously we know that your institution is in the system because you can see it listed right here. So I will have to look in to see what might be happening here and why I'm not able to search for it properly. But other than that, you can then, these are the different search criteria. You can also look up award value, currency, and also include unspecified awards. Some of the funders you will find have not been necessarily been updated with last year's round of funding. So we update the information for each funder little by little. So we work through, I think the team that updates it work through region by region. So then they update all the Swedish funders and all the UK funders and so on in this database. But it also depends on when the funders are making this information publicly available. That also changes from funder to funder. Also wanted to see if there's one if there is one that has an abstract available. It doesn't look like any of these do. But for any calls where there is an available abstract, here we go. So if there is a publicly available abstract when we add this information, then the abstract will also be added, so you can get a better idea of the specific project and what it entails. Then you also have access to the conferences and papers. So here you can find information about call for papers with deadlines regarding upcoming conferences from various disciplines and from events that takes place all around the world. You can either search for a term, search for a specific conference that you're interested in, or you can browse by subject up here and select the exact one that you are interested in. If we open up one of these, then you have the different, let's see if we can find one that's a bit more a bit further into the future. So you can see the name of the conference, the type of event date. You can see where it takes place, who may attend, a link to the conference's website for full information, keywords that it's been tagged with. So this works the same as the discipline that we tag calls with. The keywords that we use to tag the conferences and papers are not exactly the same as for the funding opportunities. But so you might need to just have a look and browse through and see and find the one that actually captures what you're interested in. They're not quite as detailed. There's not quite as many to choose from. And you can see any important dates for submission and anything you should be aware of, scope and topics as outlined by the organizers. And then for submission guidelines, in this case, it tells you to go to the form available on the organizer's website. You also have an advanced conferences search option. So again, works the same as both the funding advanced search and the news advanced search. You can search by name for conference or calls for papers. You can manage your timeline by setting abstract and manuscript submission deadlines. Event dates, if for example, you know that it must take place during certain months of the year in order for you to be able to attend in a specific country. And then add any keywords from this list to indicate what you would be interested in. Then you have your institution page here. So up here at the top, you can see who your institutional administrators are. On the start page, you can see any sort of welcome information and essential information for you. You have some links to our knowledge center with some direct links to our video instructions, a quick start guide to help you start using the platform, user guide. And then if your admins share any funding resources and news resources with you, those would be available here. So in the same way that you can share saved searches and bookmarks for yourself, your admins can also share them and save them and share them onto your institutional page. They can also share them within these work groups that you have over here. So here you have your institutional hierarchy with different schools. If we open up one, you also have the faculties organized underneath and departments under that. So you can find the exact one that's relevant to you. If we open up one of the groups, you can see that any of these groups are free for you to join. So you can join the exact one that you're interested in. You can also within a group join for the exact department. So you'll be able to join in and you can see other people who are also members of that group. So you can find people to connect with. And your administrators would also be able to share funding and news resources just within a specific group to the people who are in that group can more easily find relevant resources. And you can freely join and leave any groups as you want, and anyone can open up and have a look at the content of any of these groups. They are publicly open. Then for more information and help, if we click the help button up here, then you will get directed to our knowledge center. So here you can find product documentation with step-by-step guidance on all the different functionalities, tell you how to get started, look for funding, look through the news content. In the knowledge articles, we have commonly asked questions and answers to those questions. So if there's anything you're not sure about, chances are that someone else has asked that question before, so you can always have a look here. In the training section, we've just recently updated our end user functionality training videos. Open this one up now. So here you have some short videos for all the different end user functionalities, the same things that I've just shown you. A brief video showing you how to log in, search for funding, save searches, use the calendar function, and so on. So if there's anything you're not sure about, you need a reminder, you can always have a look here. And then we also do broadcast demonstrations. So if at any point you want to join another live session, then we do these on a monthly basis. What we do them for, we try to tailor the content and the examples shown to be relevant for a specific area where we have a lot of customers. So I'm doing one tomorrow for our customers in the in African and Middle Eastern countries. And then we have one for Italy and then one for the UK coming up in May. You are free to join any of these broadcasts. The functions will still be the same. So just if you want to see the functions again or have the opportunities to ask any live questions, you can always join any of these. Doesn't necessarily have to be the UK session if that's not a good time for you. But you can always just click through and sign up if you want to join any of these. And you can also watch previous recordings that are uploaded down here. And then lastly, if you need to contact us for anything, if you have any questions at any point or any issues, any technical issues, then you can always contact support via this link here. And then you can fill out the support form with your first, last name, institutional email address, and select a subject, and then give us a detailed description of your issue. And then this will go straight through to our support team, who will then contact you directly and help you out with anything. So that was 45 minutes on the dot. So we still have another 15 minutes left for any questions that you might have. So if there's anything, please feel free to put it in the chat or open your mics, whatever you feel comfortable with. And in the meantime, I will just share a link to a very brief survey that we always send out after these sessions. So if you do have a minute to fill that out and give us a bit of feedback on how you found the session, we really appreciate that.
So I have a question, Amelie, or there's one in the chat now too, but is there one thing that you think would really, really support the researchers on the call today? Is there one really special secret thing that you think is not widely known? I'm sure you've probably covered it, but what's your very toppest tip for people on the call today?
I don't think if I have anything specific other than what I've shown you. I think it's just important for you to just try out the search for yourself and play around with it to really see what you can generate. And one thing I will say is if, for example, in the discipline, if you are researching a very specific niche area and you're searching for that discipline area and adding that to your search and it's not really generating a lot of results, it's a good idea to say, for example, if we went through here and opened up again and again, and it's a very specific area, theater studies, for example, and you're not really generating a lot of results for that, let's just see how many will actually come up. Then you can always broaden out your search a bit. So it can be a good idea if you had searched for your discipline and selected it from there, so you're not sure where it's placed in the hierarchy, then hover over it, and then on your right you will see the path of where it's placed in the taxonomy. And then we always recommend that you take a step back. So for example, instead of looking up theater studies specifically, you can look up performance arts to broaden out your search a bit, because especially if your area of research is very niche, there might not be a lot of funding available that says it's specifically only supporting that area. But there might be a lot of opportunities that have a broader umbrella of the areas that they are are supporting where your area would naturally fall under. So that's probably my my one tip to not be discouraged if there's not a ton of things coming up immediately, but take the time to really refine your search and try and see your parameters of how much they should be broadened out or narrowed down, and kind of find a level that fits.
Super, thank you. And Renuka's asked, many fellowship applications restrict the number of years. Is it possible to filter based on that criteria?
No. The only thing would then be to maybe add to the text, if it's usually phrased in a specific way. So you could, for example, search for 3 years or 2 years or however much and see if you can include that. But there's not a specific search filter other than the ones I've shown you today.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Looks like you've opened a fantastic jewel box of possibilities for everybody, Emily. Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, there's definitely a lot to kind of get started on, and it will just take a bit of time to play around with it and really familiarize yourself with it, to find the right things basically. But hopefully this is a good starting point, so everyone at least knows what the different functions are for, and how you can use them and add them to your search.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it was really helpful. And those of you that are kind of just starting out, I think there's some really